knew Ms. Halbach before she was killed. It's our suggestion, both the sheriff and myself, that you not listen to this press conference. 10 or 11 .22 caliber shell casings were found in Stephen Avery's garage. We knew that a Toyota key that fit Ms. Halbach's vehicle was found in Stephen Avery's bedroom, and later we determined that Stephen Avery's DNA was found upon that key. Stephen Avery, we know, called Auto Trader magazine early in the morning of the 31st. Stephen Avery asked that a woman come out to take photographs of a vehicle that he had for sale. Stephen Avery specifically asked for the same woman who had been there before. We know that Teresa Halbach had been to the Avery property, and although Mr. Avery identified himself as a different person, Teresa Halbach knew the location, knew where she was going. This past week, additional information has been developed. We have now determined what occurred sometime between 3:45 p.m. And 10 or 11 p.m. on the 31st of October. On October 31st, 16-year-old Brendan Dassey, the son of Barb Dassey, who lives next door to Stephen Avery in a trailer next to Stephen Avery, returned home on the bus from school about 3:45 p.m. Brendan, as you now know, has given several statements to law enforcement officials. The results of those interviews and investigation has been included in the criminal complaint that this afternoon was filed in Manitowoc. Brendan Dassey indicates that he retrieved the mail that afternoon and that he noticed one of the letters was for his uncle, Stephen Avery. Brendan Dassey, sometime after 4 p.m., approaches the residence of Stephen Avery, Stephen's trailer. As he approaches that residence, Brendan Dassey sees an SUV, which he later determines to be that of Teresa Halbach's. That SUV has already been moved. It's in the garage of Stephen Avery as he approaches the trailer. As Brendan approaches the trailer, as he actually gets several hundred feet away from the trailer, a long, long way from the trailer, Brendan already starts to hear the screams. As Brendan approaches the trailer, he hears louder screams for help, recognizes it to be of a female individual, and he knocks on Stephen Avery's trailer door. Brendan says that he knocks at least 3 times and has to wait until a person he knows as his uncle, who is partially dressed, who is full of sweat, opens the door and greets his 16-year-old nephew. Brendan is told by Stephen what he's doing. I'm going to allow you to read Stephen's verbiage to the 16-year-old in the complaint itself. But he asks Brendan if he would like to involve himself in a sexual encounter. It's not the words that he uses, but he asks the 16-year-old to participate in a sexual encounter. Brendan accompanies his sweaty 43-year-old uncle down the hallway to Stephen Avery's bedroom. And there they find Teresa Halbach, unclothed, completely naked, and shackled to the bed. Both of her arms are shackled, both of her legs are shackled with leg irons. Teresa Halbach is begging Brendan for her life. The evidence that we've uncovered establishes that Stephen Avery at this point invites his 16-year-old nephew to sexually assault this woman that he's had bound to the bed. 16-year-old Brendan proceeds to sexually assault Teresa after Stephen has told him that he's repeatedly sexually assaulted Teresa. During the rape, Teresa is begging for help, begging 16-year-old Brendan to stop, that you can stop this. While the assault is occurring, Stephen Avery is watching his 16-year-old rape this woman from the doorway inside of the same room. After the sexual assault is completed, Stephen Avery tells Brendan what a good job he did. Takes Brendan into the other room and now describes for Brendan his intent to murder Teresa Halbach. Brendan indicates that he accompanies his uncle into the bedroom and watches Stephen Avery take a butcher knife from the kitchen and stab Teresa Halbach in the stomach. What Stephen Avery does then, while Teresa is still begging for her life, is he hands the knife to the 16-year-old boy and instructs him to cut her throat. Sixteen-year-old Brendan, under the instruction of Stephen Avery, cuts Teresa Halbach's throat, but she still doesn't die. There's additional information in the complaint as to additional torture, as to additional mutilation, as to additional mechanisms of death, which includes manual strangulation and gunshot wounds. The criminal complaint includes information then of Stephen Avery's attempts to destroy evidence, which include destroy the body of Teresa Halbach by incendiary means. You'll also read Stephen Avery's insurance that his 16-year-old nephew is never going to say anything. As the special prosecutor in this case, I intend to hold each of these defendants accountable for the rape, the torture, and the murder of Teresa Halbach. Yesterday we heard statements from Barb Dassey, Brendan's mother, Stephen Avery's sister, who's understandably troubled that this 43-year-old man would co-opt, would enlist the assistance of his 16-year-old nephew in this rape and homicide. As the lead prosecutor in the case, I was heartbroken last night to bear the responsibility with Sheriff Poggle to meet with the Halbach family and to share with the Halbachs the fate of Teresa. I hope as we sit here today and as this case proceeds, those individuals that knew Teresa will remember this extraordinary young woman and the joy that she brought to all of those around her. As I mentioned in my prefatory remarks, each of these defendants is presumed innocent. It is, however, my job, and I do very much intend to introduce evidence throughout these proceedings to hold each of these defendants accountable and to prove their guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Sheriff Poggle.
Thanks, Ken. Well, as we speak, agents and investigators continue to search the Stephen Avery property. We are searching his residence and searching the garage near his residence for additional evidence that we felt might be present after obtaining the information that was obtained from Brendan. We felt that there might be areas that we needed to recheck for blood evidence, for items used in the commission of these crimes, and this included, and we have removed sections of concrete from the garage on the Stephen Avery property. We are also removing items from Stephen's bedroom, from the hallway, from closets, and from other areas within Stephen's house that we feel we might be able to gather additional evidence which will be pertinent to our investigation. I guess I have nothing further to add.